Okay, today's lesson is point-slope form and writing linear equations. So, point-slope form is a very fun formula. Remember, we're going to go through a couple formulas that we need to do that you have to remember. So, slope. We have to remember how to find slope in formula form, and that would be y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. And then you have points, slope-intercept form. And that is y equals mx plus b. And you also have the formula that was the standard form, which that was the last lesson, and that was ax plus by equals c. So all these formulas, but these two formulas will go great with today's lesson because I bet you're going to have to use them. So we have the point-slope form of the equation is a non-vertical line. So it can't go like that, it can't go straight up and down, but it can be horizontal. That passes through the point x1, y1. So they're going to give you, most of the time, only 1 point. Now, these 1 points will go into these spots. So y1 will go into the second number of the y, and the x1 will go in this second number of the x. Now, we have this m. They're sometimes going to give you a slope, and sometimes you're going to have to use the slope form. And sometimes after you fill in these blanks, notice the three things I have circled on this y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. That is your point-slope form. You sometimes will be turning it into slope-intercept form. So you're going to have a few of these things. So you're going to have like answers that will equal a lot more than just 1 point. So let's go over some stuff. Right now, example 1, we are going to graph. So, step 1, find the point. Step 1, find point. So I'm going to put my stuff out there, and this is going to be y1 and your x1 point. So I'm going to look at this number, and I'm going to do this whole thing. Notice it says y minus 5 equals 1/2 x minus 2. So you're going to take the sign that's in front of it also. And that's your y1 right here, y1. But you're going to do the opposite of what y1 says. So if it says -5, you're going to put 5. Notice I put it on the back half because it's our y. And then I'm going to look at x1, and that's -2, x1. And the opposite of -2 is a +2. Step 1 is to find the point, which we did. Now you're going to step 2, graph it. So I'm going to graph it. So it's going to be 2, 5. 2, 5. And I put it right there. So I graphed it. Step 3. Find slope. If you remember correctly, it looked like this. Y minus y1, that's my number, equals m x minus x1. And m is your slope. We used on the last formulas m is our slope, so we're going to keep m as my slope. So m is the number in front of the parentheses. So m equals 1/2. If it's not a fraction, turn it into a fraction. So from that point, you're going to go, it says to go up 1 using the fraction we have, and over 2, 1, 2, put another dot. and then put a line. And there is your answer. B, let's try that again. I'm just going to give you the points, and I'd like you to find everything else again. So we're going to find the point. X1 is the opposite of what I'm circling here. So if I look at B, it's positive 2, so it must be negative 2. And then Y is negative 5, so we're going to do opposite of that, which would be 5. Now you graph it, find out M, and do all your work with it. Put me on pause, check it out, and see if you got it correct. So like I did with you, I did the point. I got negative 2, 5, so I graphed it. And then the slope is negative 2, 3. So from that point, it goes down 2 over 3. And there's your answer. I'd like you to try C and D by yourself. Put me on pause and check it out. Okay, so I want you to look at something. I'm sure you were like, what? This one goes off the graphs. Notice I have it at 6, 3. And then I made one that went over 1 over 2. I estimated. But notice I put also where I went down 1 and over negative 2 to the left. That also works because a negative divided by a negative is a positive. So if you're going, oh my goodness, it's going off the page, you can go the opposite directions if you do both of them opposite directions. And then I have B, I have negative 5, 3. And then I went down 2 over 5. And that's how you get those points. All right, so this time we were just going to write an equation in point-slope form. So again, remember your point-slope form. I'm going to put the numbers where they need to go. Okay, so I'm going to go y minus y1 equals m x minus x1. So notice all the red parts are going to have numbers in it. So that's how we're going to start this off.
Want me to go grab you some popcorn?
Sounds good. All right. So now I have x1, y1, and m. They gave it to us all. So you're going to just plug it into where it needs to go. So I would have y minus equals parentheses x minus. So let's look at where I would put the red numbers in. So y minus, well, y1 is 7. And then m equals negative 3, so I'll put negative 3 there. And then x minus, and x1 is negative 1. Okay. You can have it negative, negative 1, but I don't like that. So a negative times a negative is a positive. So we're going to make it a plus 1. And that is all you have to do. So let's try it. I'm not going to do it all in fancy colors. It's going to be just one color. So I'm going to have y minus, and then I notice it's a negative 8. So a negative and a negative make a positive. So I'm going to make it positive 8 equals, m is 2/5, and then x, and then I have minus 10. And there's my answer.
Apparently they don't have popcorn today.
Oh, popcorn I bet is during just during the fair today. All right, example 3. A line passes through the given points. Write an equation for the line in point-slope form and then rewrite it to... Okay, so here is where we need to do a couple things. So step one, find slope. Using that wonderful formula we discussed earlier today. And remember that is y 2 minus y1 over x2 minus, x2 minus x1. So we're going to find the answer to both A and B, the slope. Okay, so I did the step 1, I found the slope. So the first one is going to be 8/3. Just leave it at 8/3. Notice both of them are negatives, negative 8 over negative 3, so turn them into positive. So that's step 1. Step 2. Put into point slope form. Point slope form. Okay, so I have my slope and I have my first points. Those are the numbers we're going to use. The first number they give you and the slope. So if you look, I put y minus 3 equals 8/3 x minus 2. Notice I used the first point on that one and the slope we looked up. And then for B, I did the same thing. I used the first points they gave us and the slope. So it's y minus 4 equals negative 1/7 x plus 5. Now, step 3, I have to go through it with you completely. So on A, at least. Step 3, we're going to turn it into slope-intercept form. Okay, so first I rewrote it again on step 3. From step 2, it's the same numbers, but this time I have to get y by itself. So I'm going to step 1 of step 3. So there's more than one step on step 3. You distribute. Let me change the color on that. So I'm going to distribute the 8/3 to both numbers. So it's going to be y minus 3 equals 8/3 x minus 16/3. But I'm going to turn that into a mixed number before I'm going to erase 16/3 and make it a mixed number. Well, I accidentally erased it all, so I just rewrote it again. Step 3. This is step 3. So I distributed the 8/3. So instead of it being in fraction form, that should be 5 1/3. Sorry, minus 5 1/3. So then after that, I need to get y by itself, and the only thing you need to do is get rid of this number attached to the y, and so it's subtracting 3. So I'm going to add 3 and only add it to the one that does not have a variable. So it's y equals 8/3 x minus 2 1/3. I'd like you to try that with B from step 3. Hopefully you wrote it down. You can go back in time and check it out. Okay, so I distributed the negative 1/7. So I rewrote it again for you guys from step 3. And I distributed the negative 1/7, so it's negative 1/7 x minus 5/7 because 1/7 times 5 over 1 is 5/7. Then you add 4 to both sides. Now, on the last one, it was kind of easy to subtract the numbers, but on this one, it's a little different because 4 is the one that has the whole number, and it's bigger than 5/7. So I am just subtracting 5/7 from 4. So I started with 4, and I'm subtracting 5/7. Well, what's left over is 2/7. So it would be y equals negative 1/7 x plus 3/7. And here's your answer for that. Okay, we're not going to do example 4. Have a wonderful day. Bye.